call the meeting to order. You want to stand for the pledge?
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I'll have some questions under both old and new business.
Anything else? If not, stand. Minutes. Any additions or deletions to the minutes or corrections? None?
And as presented.
Good. Approval of bills. Accounts payable. October 17th, $219,975.29. EFTs to zero. $219,975.29.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
We'll just
I have a question. When Adrian Communication comes here, how long are they here?
When what?
Adrian Communication.
It really depends on the project is what they're doing.
That one you're looking at is the, I think it's the annual, semi-annual radio maintenance.
Right,
And that's for July through December.
right.
I don't know,
Come here, how long
but
are they here?
I don't know how long they're here, but I did check the price and it has not gone up since, I think, 2014. It's been the same every single.
I think they're really only spending time if we have issues. So if there's no outstanding issues, if we call them, if we have radios go down, they'll come fix them, but
Right.
that one's kind of hit or miss.
Been nothing I do about it then.
I guess for a little more background, the Adrian Communications, that's for all the radios, two-way radios in the trucks. Is that what that's for?
Yeah.
And the like repeaters,
In the repeaters and things.
that system.
So it's $8,000 a year. And how old are those radios? And are they still replaceable? And are they obsolete?
I know we get new ones when we get new trucks and they
Okay.
deal with those and then.
Rotate them out.
Okay.
Are they obsolete? No, not right now, but
Okay. I just want to make sure we don't need any 800 megahertz towers left.
no, we do not need any 800 megahertz. Actually, we need the opposite of 800 megahertz.
That was for my benefit.
It was. All right.
But we should have new towers that we could join up
Yeah.
Well, eventually,
eventually.
not at the moment.
Right.
So I have a question, and maybe we need to talk about this some other time other than paying the bills. But I notice here under this Thatch Computer Consulting is towards the end of the listing of the bills that, it's a minor amount that 2024 firewall reset. Who do we use for protection or, from a,
Like a cyber attack.
yeah,
Thatch does all that for us.
okay. Because I know that's become a, seems like it's becoming more and more of an issue. And I know that Wayne County got nailed really hard sometime here within the last month or 6 weeks. I don't know what the outcome was, but, it's something that I don't understand how it all works, but I know it's important that we have that stuff in place to protect ourselves.
Well, they not only
That,
keep up with our programming and that kind of stuff, but they also do all of our backup.
and that's what that firewall was, since there was that big cyber attack.
Mhm.
somewhere else, they changed a lot of the updates and security, so they had to come and reprogram our firewall to, what's the word, so we can protect us, yeah. We weren't, cause after that month when they did the updates, we couldn't do certain things.
Mhm.
So then they had to come to redo that since, and it wasn't altogether Thatch that had the updates, it's different, like with the internet and all that, so they had to come make
So when
it.
they did the updates, it basically like blocked us out of certain things because of the update, they had to come do some tweaks to
Yeah.
make sure we could still do our business, but it was still
More protection.
Good.
You good? All right. Been moved and seconded to approve the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
Make sure.
I think we've been all the way around, right? You signed all three of them, didn't you?
Payroll dated October 24th for a total of $133,081.73.
I move we pay the payroll dated October 24th, for $133,0181.73.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Moving right along.
Sorry.
Gotta block my half off.
Give me that.
Oh, I'm gonna get cold, so I turn the air up.
All right, treasurer's report.
Okay, beginning cash and investment balance, $2,096,603.46. Total in receipts is $215,504.93. Total disbursements is $353,057.02. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks is $656,873. Ending available fund balance is $1,291,928.37. Outstanding accounts payable, $2,213.28.
Any questions? If not, stand as. Thank you. We could do a little bit of public comment. We've got a couple of hearings. Who wants to go first? Yep.
Yeah, I just wanna thank you for grading Hog Creek Road there. Seems like when I was in last time, you said you'd be putting some limestone or gravel or something on it. Doesn't look like that's been done yet, and I was questioning, is the cones are out by the bridge? Didn't know how long before you're gonna be putting up the reflectors or whatever you're putting there. Just wondered if you had any comments on that.
So those will get done as soon as we get a sign truck in here.
Okay.
Cause we've gotta have, we've got the mistigs or the locates for the post.
Yeah, I see
But
there's.
our sign truck's down right now, so we're working with Jackson to use theirs,
Okay.
and I'll have an update for a sign truck here later. But until we can drive those posts, the
Okay.
cones are gonna have to be there. But
Okay,
hopefully soon we'll have the delineators, reflectors up there.
okay. So about the other question about the surface of the road, right? Was I misunderstood where you were gonna put something on it? I mean, it
Don't
looks
know
like
if we're
it's
gonna
been
put
pretty.
anything extra on it unless it's, I don't know if we were gonna put anything extra on it, we graded it to, to
Okay,
smooth everything out. I guess I don't recall talking about putting extra gravel.
I don't remember if it was you or if it was Mike or who it was, somebody I thought said that to me, but I could have been misunderstood too, I just want clarification on it's all.
Not that I know of.
It's
right
better than it was, but it's still kinda rough, that's where I'm at, so, appreciate it, thank you.
Doug?
Howdy, it's been a while since I've been around. My name's Doug Whitler, this is Bob.
This is Bob.
Yes.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
And, I was the person who was lead on the project for getting East Diane and Sellers Road paved, and now I'm kind of the steward. So, there's a couple sections on Sellers Road that need attention. There's probably a 3-foot pothole that's down close to Woodbridge, and it's starting. I went out and I looked at it, I think it's only an inch thick. I think we were supposed to be 2.5 total. And there's gonna be spots in that road where it's not 2.5. But if it don't get taken care of here pretty quick, it's gonna spread pretty bad. All right, so that's something, it'd be cool if we could get addressed, maybe cut it out, replace
Yes,
it.
they are gonna.
The other thing too is when you turn onto Sellers Road off of Hillsdale, about 75 yards down, there's a fairly significant crack opening up. It's a longitudinal crack.
Yep.
So we kind of need to get on that and seal that.
Yep.
Is that possibly it before winter?
Yes, they actually, I don't know if they're gonna do it today or first part of next week, but they'll have the crack seal machine back out. I noted that with them, and we'll have to keep an eye on that to make sure that's not something that's trying to slough off is why that crack came in there. But it will get sealed as a minimum right now to keep water out of it, and then we'll have to keep an eye on it.
We're year 3 into a 10-year payment.
Yep.
So we'd like to make sure we keep it up. For your attention, there's some dirt work going on by Blaine LeBlanc on the corner of East Diane and Sellers, and he's taking out your ditches. Okay, I don't know that they're planning on putting the ditches back in, but
Where at?
corner of East Diane and Sellers. Started dirt work about 3 days ago. He took out all the hills, he's flattened all the ground straight to the road, no ditches. So you probably want to have somebody go take a peek at that sooner than later.
That's not our first run in.
Yeah, no, so, that's a little alarming. I mentioned to Bob, and this is something we can look at in the spring, but there's some foreign plant species that are very firm and stocky that are literally growing up through the road, through the asphalt in certain places. One is on Woodbridge and another one I think is on Dale Drive. May not be able to see them right now because they're all dying down, but when you go and walk on the road, you're like, you just couldn't believe that you got something growing up through the asphalt. So that's something to look out for. And then the only other question I have is just out of curiosity, is there any future plans to resurface Territorial? Territorial's getting awfully bad. You got grass growing up on it and everything.
Well, when that was all shut down, grass grew and every crack, the traffic wasn't out there to beat it down. As a minimum, we'll try to get those cracks sealed, to seal those cracks up, but as far as.
Hasn't made a discussion for resurfacing yet?
No.
Okay.
That'll be another one of those, huge projects that we're gonna have to find some kind of funding for.
Okay. That's really all I got, so, keep an eye on it, and just Bob, like I say, if I see any deterioration or anything going on that you need to know, I'll definitely be calling you. Good to meet you.
All right.
Yeah, if you have any problems at all, call that Bob G.
Or that Bob.
I try to be selective. I don't want to overrun you.
You can
right.
call me anytime.
Thank you.
Same thing.
Thank you. All right, we gotta have a public hearing. Recess. 10:15, public hearing proposed for 2025 budget.
Do we have to have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
questions on the budget?
So, I guess I'm gonna ask questions today instead of getting them to you before the meeting.
Sure.
So when I see the capital outlay for the 2025 proposed budget of $800,000, really our capital outlay is gonna be $2 million, because you're adding back $1,200 worth of depreciation, or somehow you're dealing with depreciation to get it to
For the
$800,000
net, yes.
for the net. But we plan on spending $2 million on equipment. And I guess my question is we had some trucks come in early, so I'm kind of surprised maybe we have that 2 million, given that we have almost $1 million deficit. Can you explain that to me?
Well, to be honest with you, that's there kind of almost as a buffer to, we'll have to see where we end up when we get all these trucks
Okay,
paid for. And part of these are probably gonna come out of that.
okay. So we don't have a schedule of $2 million worth of equipment we plan on buying.
No.
But it's more of a
It's to
kind of a
cover
plug.
what we're coming up with right now and what we're kind of scheduling to buy, but to be honest with you, I'm not scheduling or proposing a whole lot of new equipment, other than there's a couple specific
Right.
pieces, like we'll talk about a sign truck coming up and, high reach, kind of, but no big significant, like another 5 plow trucks or anything like that, you know. So it's kind of, it's gotta be able to carry us through where we're at right now to get these paid for and what we intend to try to purchase for 2025.
And can you explain the difference between the capital outlay of $2 million and equipment net of negative $650,000?
That's where the depreciation of,
And yours has the thing on the side,
Yeah.
how he got it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at, I'm sorry.
But I know we've tweaked, like, when did you get that one? Is that up to date to the one that we presented?
I got this when I was in talking to Bob last week.
probably.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm pulling my other one out now. The bottom number's the same.
If the numbers match, that's good.
Yes, the numbers match. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure.
yeah, no, I appreciate that, yep. So can you explain the equipment net?
The equipment net,
Because you got direct equipment of 2 million, indirect of 800,000, operating of $500,000, and then equipment rental of a negative 3.9 million with a net of negative $650,000.
do you wanna know what each falls in those categories?
Just kind of
Well,
how we come to that negative $650,000.
The negative 3.9, that's when we charge our equipment out all year long.
To all the projects.
That's the Schedule C rate that we
Right.
have to charge. Sometimes we have to absorb that, like if it's on a primary road, we absorb that as far as it costs us that much
Yeah.
to run that equipment. If it's on a township agreement, we charge that, that's what we charge to them for the equipment. So it's really the Schedule C rate for every piece of equipment all year long has to get like,
That you're spreading all the projects, and then, so then it goes into roads, primary roads, local, so on and so forth. Essentially, that's where they go, because those are the
Correct.
projects. So the 2 million, the 800,000, the $500,000, that's money we spend on equipment every year?
So the operating costs, there you go.
no good.
So you said operating costs, I think does it say 510s?
510, 511, and 512.
510s is the work that gets done on the equipment. So if the guys are having to change something out, that's what they get charged as to a 510.
Okay, so like our maintenance garage, they would charge the 510 when they're working on equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
Like when you guys sign like
Yep.
for the blown engine
Yes,
or
yep, okay.
that all goes into that.
Okay, and then the indirect of 511?
Indirect is the supporting equipment for the garage. So the electricity for the garage,
Okay. The overhead.
Yes.
The overhead. And so then the operating of 512?
512 is the fuel, oil,
That happens at the shop?
that gets put into the vehicles every day. 512 is where we charge out the diesel that goes in the trucks, that charges out the.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So all and we're talking the plow trucks.
Yeah.
That fuel goes to there, so it goes into the equipment cost, and then it gets distributed
Yes.
to the jobs. And that could be snow plowing, would be one of the
Yeah.
jobs. Okay.
So like the
Okay.
fuel, like we don't charge
Fuel, right, it's an
fuel
overhead
to
cost
a
or
work
something.
order, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Alright. I'm just making sure.
No, and that's how you come up with the negative 3.9 million, and so then we net. So essentially, based on this budget, we're over distributing to the jobs by $650,000.
What do you mean jobs, when you say jobs?
To the spread.
Yeah, you're spreading,
We have to spread that through,
well, what I'm
well,
saying,
this doesn't, it's not
according to the
our
budget.
054, okay.
according to the budget, based on the costs that you're projecting us to run that equipment versus what you're gonna spread, because essentially you spread everything else, we're spreading $650,000 more than what we're projecting in costs. That's what that number's telling me. So, all right.
Really nice to have an account.
I said,
That whole net and spreading is what really gets me. I'm not a bean counter, so.
Well, here you do, it,
Yes,
here you do job costing, which is,
Yep.
not everybody does job costing.
Yep.
Like at the county, there's no almost no job costing going on there, if any. Maybe at the drain commission, that'd be job costing, but here, pretty much everything's job costed, where everything's
Yes.
applied.
Yes,
We have these buckets and then they're applied
yes.
to the other line items, kind of, and this is, alright.
Just a comment that I would make, you know, if somebody from the public looks at the 24 budget versus the 25 budget, you know, we're seeing a substantial reduction. Expenditure wise, it's almost $6 million. And on the revenue side, we're down about 4 million. And the big reason is it's the two bridges on Territorial Road.
the two bridges on Territorial and the repair on Bankers took a big chunk.
Yeah.
And the trucks.
Yeah.
That we're still trying to pay for. Those three things, and that's why I don't wanna project too much into buying new equipment, cause we've gotta try to cover these things that
We're getting,
came up.
we still got, what, 2 trucks coming in?
We've got
Yeah.
one more truck that we hopefully will pay for next month or ish, and then 2 builds that are still out for truck and trailer, and they're not even sound like if we'll get them by the first of the year, so.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, it spreads it out,
For our cash
but,
flow,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
But those been on order for 2 years?
oh yeah, I ordered them back when I first got here. So,
So we ordered them 2 years ago and they're
Well, no, I know that,
Yeah.
but we were concerned that they were gonna show up
Yes,
in
at
the
the
fourth
same time.
quarter.
I like that it's
And
the
we
new
were
year.
buying those other ones and we didn't want them in the
We were more
fourth quarter.
concerned it was all gonna show up same time.
Exactly, so we're quite
It
happy that they're not
I am
gonna,
happy.
it has
Yes.
worked out so
yes.
far.
Well, I thought that Bob Godfrey was gonna float the money to pay those.
I could buy a tire.
I can put air in the tire.
I can store the tire.
Teamwork there.
I could wash the tires.
At least have clean tires.
Any more discussion on the budget?
Again, you're projecting almost $1 million deficit.
Yes.
Is that a good idea? I mean, $2 million, I mean, what kind of fund balance should we have? Are we reaching, a critical area? Do we have enough cash for our cash flow?
In my opinion, we are reaching the critical area when we're hitting this. That's why part of that, the hope for the capital for next year is we're gonna be very cautious on what we purchase. And even some of the work that we do. I think when we talk about the contracts for the townships this year, that will also be affected too. So, yes, we need to be very careful at this point, in my opinion. We're okay, but I do not want to go any lower than this. And I would rather see it up towards the 5 million, but I know Gary doesn't necessarily want it to be there. But it doesn't take much with a bridge to go out that
Yeah.
Exactly,
it'll take $1 million in a heartbeat.
right,
So,
Yes.
and that's
So-
why I'm a little, I would be more comfortable, again, not having $1 million projected shortfall. So, Because, again, like you said, if a bridge goes out, you know, we have big expenditures.
Yes.
It's not little things to cover.
Yep.
So,
We can cover the little things.
Yeah.
It's those surprise
Right.
banker roads and
right,
bridges and, yes,
so,
I agree. I would rather be like the ending for 24 that you approved for the lower 3.
right.
To me, that should be our low. So we're gonna work at that to get it there.
And you don't think our budget for this year should then not be that deficit, and we should have that closer to 3 million?
Well, I mean, the budget is still the budget. We've got to cover certain things. If that 2 million on the capital doesn't get spent fully, then that will help cover that.
Right.
And that's hopefully
Kind
an
of
avenue
where
to-
you wanna try to get maybe some of half of that from anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
The good thing is we should have enough trucks where we've got a spare.
No.
No?
Even with the new trucks that we're purchasing, and we get the 2 new ones that are waiting to come in, we still don't have enough trucks to put a body in, or a truck for everybody. So we're still using like the 4 graders to run for the routes if we get a bad snowstorm. Things like that. We might put them in a 1-ton that's got a salter and a blade on the front. They can do the subdivisions and the small streets and stuff like that. But no, we still don't have enough trucks here to cover everything like they probably should.
Okay, so there's what we should do versus what's been past practice. Are we down trucks based on
No.
past practice?
Actually, we're up trucks
Well,
from
that's what I
past
thought.
practice, but in the past, it's been, I think upwards of 8 people
Not having trouble.
don't have trucks or plow routes. They either use a 1-ton or a grader.
And that only happens with a snow event.
Yes, that's the only time that
That's
even.
the only time, and so my question would be, is it the right thing to do to spend the kind of money it takes to get a plow truck? Is that the right way to spend that money for the few snow events we have? Versus is there another way to tackle it, or
Eventually, yes, it is the right thing. I think there should be at least a plow truck for everybody, plus a couple spares, which those are usually the older, you know,
right?
And you need to update the fleet,
and
or
you,
you'll run into what we're at right now.
because
Well,
we
I
still,
know, I
it is
understand that.
not just for winter maintenance, but we are a little short when it comes to like chip seal. It takes just about every one of our guys and trucks to haul the stone for the chip seal. Those trucks can and would get used throughout the summer too.
Right.
Just not as critical. We can do a little finagling, but eventually, and it's not, to me, it's not anything that you should worry about getting that fleet built up immediately. It's been years, if not decades, that they haven't had them here. And so if we pick up maybe a truck a year or a truck every 2 years to finally get to where everybody's got a truck, I think that'd be a safer.
So since you've been here, we've picked up 4, have we not?
Well, but we lost a few too that were junk and got scrapped.
Well, I
So,
heard
Grand-
8, and I hear now they only have 4 that aren't in a plow truck.
No, I don't have the exact numbers here, but
Okay, alright,
Yes.
alright, we're kinda getting into the weeds, I'm sorry.
yes, we are. But
Okay,
yes. Do we need more trucks? Yes. Do we need them all right now? No. They
do
can
we
be.
have the money? No.
And it needs to be gradually.
Right, and the part of that is buying them through the state
Yes.
program, and we are keeping up with that.
And that's really the only way
That we can
Hillsdale
buy.
County can even afford that.
Right,
We
right.
can build by a truck.
So if it stays on the state trunk line for 5 years, the state pays for it.
Right.
And then it can get pushed to the county.
Right.
And if you just kind of keep that
Well, they
going,
don't pay for all of it, though.
yep, after 5 years, it's 100%.
I thought it was 80.
If you pull out the 4th year, then it's only 80, and that
Yes.
way to get another new one going. So
They
that
pay by a 15th.
Yes.
So after 5 years, it's
Right.
5/15, 4/15, 3/15. So by the last year, you're only getting 1/15.
Right, so
So that's when we push it to the county. We absorb that.
right, to get that newer
That's
truck
right.
quicker. Because that's
Yeah.
2 trucks a year, isn't it, on the state trunk line?
Ideally, we would do 1 truck a year
Oh,
because
one truck
there's
a
5 trucks on the
There's
state
only
trunk
5.
lines, and so
Okay.
by the time you
Yeah.
cycle it through,
Yeah, okay.
so.
Alright, thanks for the
I
refresher.
guess my view is, I'm not all that concerned about having the maximum number of trucks we need. I'm more concerned about putting money into blacktop roads that are long overdue. And we got a ton of them in this county that are in that position.
But we don't have enough money to fix them.
That's our
Well,
It's a balancing act, you gotta do both, but
I don't want a whole fleet of new trucks sitting out here with a bunch of crappy blacktop roads. That doesn't sell very good to the public.
I don't think we have a whole new fleet.
Yeah.
No,
I think
we
we'll
don't.
ever
We do not, and I don't
We
think that's the plan.
but if you don't keep up,
It is a balancing act between keeping your equipment where it needs to be and putting as much as we can into the roads.
You could have a brand new road and not a truck to plow it with.
Mhm.
I don't think we're in that position.
I understand where you're coming from, Gary, but it goes back to what we've dealt with since I've been on this board, since you've been on this board, since Bob's even on that board, that there's not enough funding
They gotta
for the
do
roads.
something.
And that's the way it's been in this state.
Okay, we gotta go to our permit
Do I have-
inspection fees.
well, we
Time
can
for
finish
one-
this,
one
we
quick
can,
question.
we can push that.
One quick question. So, the gravel, we're still, making gravel this year, or
We haven't.
I
since
thought
March.
we were gonna do
We
that
did
all
early
year?
spring.
Well, it's gonna cost more money to make it. We've got 4 to 5 years worth of gravel stockpiled up right now.
Okay,
So we don't have to make any this year, and then that costs another significant amount when we really don't have the amount to, the funding to do it.
I didn't realize we had that much stockpiled.
We've got
At both pits,
70,000 yards.
Okay,
So we could, depending on, what we do, how much we use, we could do probably for maybe 5 years.
so the plan for 2025, there's no plan to make more gravel in 2025?
That's not in the budget.
Okay,
I didn't plan for that, no.
okay.
so
I think if we can get-
equipment's going back to Alton.
It's been back to all.
Oh, yeah, I went
We
back
haven't
last
had it.
year. When we got done processing at Shannon's pit, they went back to them, we're done, and so now we have the 2 stockpiles at Shannon's and at Watkins that we can pull off of anytime we need.
So that is where I'm coming from is, that's an asset that we didn't have 2 years ago.
Correct.
A
So that's-
significant asset.
And that's part of why we went down so much between Bankers Road, between the trucks. But there's a significant amount of money tied up in that
Yeah.
material that we'll be able to use over the next 4 to 5 years that won't cost us money.
Right.
Over those 4 to 5 years, because we've already paid for it.
And we really wouldn't have to look at it till 3 years down the road, maybe crush that.
Yeah, I mean, probably 2 years we need to be looking to see where we're at, and,
And you even got some
Well-
crushed stone too.
yes.
Mhm.
But part of that discussion also is how much unprocessed gravel do we own? And what does that look like 5 years down the road?
We've still got significant at Watkins.
Okay. So then why are we, Shannon, are we not buying that gravel that we're crushing? I mean, we don't own that gravel.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't.
We do.
So we paid so much a ton for the gravel that got mined up from him.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we don't own the gravel,
The
we had to
land.
buy it from Shannon, the
For,
gravel.
yes, for like $2 a ton,
Okay,
more than what it would have,
right,
but-
that's my point.
But if you really look at what our gravel in our pit, just sitting there waiting, it's still worth about $2 a ton,
Right,
once
Right.
we do process it. But
but my point is, have we done the analysis of do we buy another gravel pit and have our own gravel? Or is it more efficient and cost effective to keep on processing from Shannon? And how many years is Shannon's gonna be available? That's my question for that long range plan of 5 years, 10 years down the road.
We would
that we'll
never
have to look
Never.
into.
be able to purchase a pit.
Yeah. At this day and age, it would be expensive.
The price of land has become prohibitive.
Well, not
We
only
still got
that,
significant land on Watkins. We do even have one other pit.
Pittsburgh pit,
Pittsburgh
right?
pit,
Pittsburgh.
that we still have to
We got
take,
gravel
we can
there.
take the overburden off of that, and then we got some more there too, so. The reasoning behind Shannon's was to give us a pit there was some
In the
gravel
right
in the right
location.
location to do that part of the county.
Right.
If that turns out that that's not
It's worked out pretty good.
economic or feasible, then maybe we don't look at it again, but for $2 a yard or,
Okay.
it's not,
Can't beat it.
it's not bad.
Pretty inexpensive.
It costs us more than that to haul it, if we went to Watkins
Yeah.
and haul it to the other corner of the county, it costs us that much to do that, but.
And these old pits are grandfathered in.
Yes, we looked at buying a pit probably 15 years ago, but the time you got it up and running, it cost a fortune. These guys will
Yeah, I
help
think
you
you guys
out.
can tell you all about it.
You know, and so that's when we decided, no, we don't need another pit.
You got all the state regulations.
Yep.
I mean, it's like dealing with Eagle on the bridges, you're dealing with Eagle on the gravel too.
So I think it's something we need to watch and look at, but I don't think it's anything
At this point.
drastic at this point that we need to be too concerned about.
Did anybody ever do an analysis on the pit on Moore Road? See what's kind of left
That one's
there?
pretty well mined out.
That's mined
Yeah,
out?
I've been told that was mined out
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, it would rather be worth.
I don't think we
I think
can.
the other two pits would be easier to work with in the future.
And the one that's Bundy Hill, that's all probably gone too, because
Yeah, that's just the storage.
everybody's worked on that one over the years.
All right. Do you wanna do the permit?
Do you have a motion to close this public
Oh,
hearing?
yes.
Move to
Yes,
close
the
the public.
public had any comment, yeah?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. Forgot about that part.
Alright.
So I have a couple of observations I would like to mention.
Okay.
One is on the revenues. I see that, federal sources in '24 was 2.3 million, and there's no federal money in '25,
The bridges.
That was the territorial road bridges.
okay?
And so there is nothing scheduled for 25 from that.
Okay, and then the other observation on revenues is in the township line, there's quite a drop from 850,000 to 500,000.
That depends on what we can match, actually.
Depends on where our focus is gonna be, whether it's gonna be doing township projects or doing more county projects and that ebb and flow and how much the townships wanna do as well.
On the revenue side. So then 2 questions on the expense side. I see primary roads is up $1 million in '25, and local roads are down $1.5 million.
And that's really where it should be. If you look, local roads had more money, and we've actually had to reply back to the auditors as to why are we spending so much on the local roads and not the primary roads? Because that split really should be more of our money spent on the primary roads. Just in the past, there's been a lot of township participation and contracts and stuff, and then we've actually wound up spending more money because of those. We need to get it back in line to where we should be taking care of our primary roads primarily, and then the local roads, pick up the rest. But that's really that 2.5 and 3.5 for the local and primaries was really where it really should be.
Those are my observations.
Cause right now, on an average, we transfer $1 million from primaries to locals. It comes down in 2 pots, so we have to transfer it. Anything else? If not, we could use a motion on public hearing.
Move to close public hearing.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Move to, do we do something with the budget now, or do you wanna wait till we get to the regular meeting after the other public hearing?
it's up to you guys.
I think we should wait.
I think so too. We can do
Okay.
both.
Okay, so I would move to open the public hearing, or do we have to open it?
We gotta open it.
Yep.
Okay, so I move to open the public hearing, for the revised permit fee schedule for 24-25.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. That's all the new.
So on the schedule, is only the ones in red been changed, or have they all changed?
For the
on the first page, I'm just looking,
Let me find it here.
yeah,
No, those are read to just highlight those specific things, cause there's a little bit of uniqueness to them.
okay.
Almost everything has changed, well, everything has changed and gone up. This is based off of the recommendations from CRA as to more align everybody throughout the state to be charging the same types of fees for the same types of functions. That's where these fees come from. Some of them, as you'll note on the second page, are highlighted with an at or a hashtag, I guess. Those are set by law. We can't change those. Those have to be those three have to be that cost. The others with the asterisk just normally will, if there's some kind of bonding or some kind of significant issue there that I felt that I just put it in red. So usually it's like the commercial drive, because that causes some kind of a bonding or an engineering study to be done. The seismographic testing for the destructive type, which is what I call the thumper truck, because they could do damage to the road, they have to have certain bonding. The non-destructive seismographic is really just wires going across, and so it doesn't require anything extra. And then some of the oversized, overweight also require bonding, and so that's why I highlighted those. Other than that, all these are pretty much in line with what CRA is recommending. We added some categories because I guess there are other areas of the state are doing, certain things. We removed some because we don't do them here. So really, other than the cost changing, the biggest overall thing is for during frost laws, we removed basically all the annual or most of the annual permits to let people just haul during frost laws, which to me totally defeats the purpose of a frost log. So other than the normal seasonal agricultural, which includes milk, those things are kind of set by law too. If they can haul legal loads, not oversized loads or overweight loads, but legal loads under their permits. But everybody else, if they can reduce their load, they must reduce their load. So if they can remove a blade off of a bulldozer to make it legal, or they can't, they must. If they can haul less than a tank or less on a truck to make it legal, with the reduced weights for the frost laws, then they must do that. We should not and cannot permit things that can be made legal, just because I don't know why it's ever been done. But so those things I did remove as far as the annual frost law permits. Other than that, I did add a blurb in there that if somebody fails to obtain a permit and they perform the movement, the work, the action, and then we find out after the fact that that's happened, then that'll cause the permit to still be needed, but cause them to be double the cost. I don't know if there's anything else unless you got questions.
The seasonal agricultural commodities, is that required by law that they can haul full loads on?
Well, no, well, there is laws on the books that allow the agriculture,
Has to be a perishable product.
they can still haul certain things at certain loads that others can't, and that's by state laws.
Okay.
And milk gets lumped into there with them, because it's perishable, and now they can't go and, like I said, haul a overweight load,
Right.
but they can haul a legal load of what they could normally haul if frost laws weren't on.
So would that apply as well, let's say, to a livestock truck?
Normally, yes. They even stretch it right down to sand for bedding for the cows. I mean, it's an agricultural commodity, so it's just kind of one of those
Most guys though.
acknowledge that most
contractors, they're hauling sand, they'll stockpile it before the frost laws come on, unless it's a surprise. Okay.
Some of them don't, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
And what about feed trucks?
Yep,
Feed
they can
haulers?
haul a regular load. And that's what they would still need the permit to do it,
Right.
but at that point, they could do it to where others will reduce their loads if they're not agricultural.
Do we know how much of that's going on our roads?
Of what, the agricultural?
Yeah,
Oh,
during the frost.
couldn't hazard a guess.
Not as many.
Well,
We could count how many permits we
Well, that's right.
give out,
That-
but it's every farmer.
More than you think.
Yeah,
But there's not as many dairy farms.
more than in Wayne County.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking of is, there's a ton of livestock in the southwest corner of the
Yeah.
county.
Yeah.
That with lots of feed trucks and frequently semis hauling calves in and calves out.
They're
Yeah.
usually not that heavy though.
No.
The calves, now when they're full grown, oh, wow, now you get some weight.
So I was just, that's why I was asking.
Normally, if they fall under the agricultural exemptions, they can haul a full load.
Even there, don't they have to reduce their speed?
Everybody should be reducing their speed, yes, but that'll be
When
part
you
of
get the frost
the
laws.
permit that they get dictates all that out.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment on that? No? I guess we could entertain a motion to,
So, oh, you got a question?
No, I was gonna move, but you did.
Okay, well, you can support.
I can support.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried. Now, we can vote on the budget.
But I guess a question, Mr. Chair, do we have any more public comment, maybe, because you
Yeah, I can do-
opened
we
with
can-
public comment, then
we
we
skipped
stopped,
over,
go to
yeah.
the budget.
Any more public comment? Alan, anything? Doug?
Yes. At our last commissioners' meeting, there was some concern brought up by commissioners about Camden Road, east of Camden,
Mm-hmm.
on the condition of the road. And I was asked to bring that concern here.
It's bad.
That's one of those roads that it's gonna take a significant amount of money, maybe even a grant to try to fix. I'm working with one company to see if we can do a different type of fix to just to kind of get us through for now, but I think you're probably addressing the ruts that are in the road coming east from Camden.
Doug probably hasn't driven that road, he doesn't know what it's like.
It's rough. It's
That's
bad.
correct.
But I can attest to the fact that
So-
there's a big rut in it.
It's bad.
So there is a couple companies that I'm trying to get some information on and see if they'll even do some like sampling of what they can do to try to fill the ruts and then possibly cap it for now. But ideally, that needs to be pulverized just like Waldron Road, just like all the others that are, and to pulverize it, you know, you're pushing $1 million a mile to redo those roads. So are we looking at it? Yes. So we're trying to figure out if there's a reasonable, fix for it right now, or if we can get by. So we'll see what we can do.
Doug, if you'd win the Powerball, and donate a healthy chunk of it to
You gotta
the
play to win.
road commission.
Somebody won it, Gary, but it wasn't Doug.
How many miles are we talking about of Camden Road?
Camden,
east
that's
of
about-
Camden?
So it was described to me at our meeting, 14 miles.
Oh,
Ooh, no, that won't happen.
$14 million.
then they're talking a whole different,
Well,
there's about a 5 mile
The
chunk.
worst of it is a 3 to 5 mile
Exactly.
stretch.
Commissioner Leininger mentioned all the way to M99.
Well, in an ideal world,
Yes.
yeah.
There's
That would
one
happen.
section right just east of Camden.
And that's what
So
Commissioner
like
That's the
Benzing
worst.
was talking about,
That's
the
the worst. That's,
section right out of.
that's about 4 to 5 miles. So, yeah, the 15, yeah, that would be many years down the road.
Bringing up the grants, when we attended Frugal 5,
Yep.
and the director at Kalamazoo wanted to form a regional
Mhm.
consortium of the counties to apply for grants. What's your feeling on that, Bob? We really
I
didn't
agree.
discuss much.
However, I think what she was talking about was mainly aimed at bridges, but there is some opportunity for some road projects through not just the state, but through the federal.
But that was through Rural Task Force, I think they were going with, weren't they?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I think the one that she went with, I think was more applied towards the bridge.
Yeah,
Bridges.
I remember him talking about
But-
that.
And apparently they offered back then to try to get a few counties together, and nobody at the time elected to join on with them, so they went ahead and paid for the studies, because it was significant for the money to pay for the studies to get the grant done. They went ahead and paid for it on their own, got a grant to do some work, and so they're
sitting pretty good.
they're
on
sitting
that.
okay, you know. She's still willing to say, hey, let's get together, and I don't wanna speak for them, but the counties that probably have been, taken on by the county departments, which would be like Jackson, Calhoun, Ingham, and some of those, probably aren't gonna jump into that pile. But Kalamazoo, us, St. Joe, Cass, Branch, possibly even Lunaway could look at, and that's what she's asked about, looking at forming some kind of a economy of scale to get a better rating when it comes to those grants.
Cause the one was, you had to have a population of 200,
Well, that's what the state,
yeah.
um,
and they're
to be considered rural, it needs, or to not be considered rural, you have to have a population of over 250,000. Well, guess what, that doesn't include, what we're all rural. You know, even Kalamazoo qualifies as rural under that definition.
Yeah.
So there's, yeah.
So did we take care of the public hearings, or we gotta do that yet?
No, we're still doing public comment.
But
Anybody
the-
else?
The public hearings are over.
Well, no, about voting about.
Right, we gotta take action on the
Yeah,
public
that's
hearing, we wanna finish public hearing first.
Any more public hearing? No?
Or, excuse me, public comment.
Okay,
Okay,
now,
now we can take care of our motions and everything we were gonna do for public hearing.
I would move to approve the 2025, proposed budget for the Hillsdale County Road Commission.
I'll support the motion.
any more discussion? If not, signify by saying
I
aye.
think we need a roll call vote on a budget.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bob Godfrey,
yes.
Mike Carney,
Yes.
Gary Leoniger.
Yes.
Kathy Schmidt,
Yes.
Mark Klein.
Yes.
Perfect. Permit schedule. You want to approve that?
I move that we approve the permit schedule as presented.
Second.
All right, Bob Godfrey,
Yes.
Mike Carney,
Yes.
Gary Leoniger,
Yes.
Kathy Schmidt,
Yes.
Mark Klein.
Yes.
Manager's comments.
What would you entertain having, the Bivens Road discussion?
Yeah,
first,
let's
or-
do it, they're here, they probably got things to do.
Okay.
So with that, the floor is yours.
Alright, so we're Brad Wilson with Stoneco. We're proposing closing the northern part of Bivens Road, approximately 1,200 feet, Moscow Township. So we own 120 acres to the west of Bivens, which we have intentions of mining. It's easier for our operation. We have a floating dredge, so in order to get to that site, we would have to disassemble that unit, which is massive. So just the time and labor to do something like that would be insane. Doing that, it would continue the whole lake. Take a 120 acre lake and make it approximately a 240 acre lake. We think would be end up being a better option. Future plans were to donate that back to Moscow Township when we're all done. So we have a plan proposed together. If we were to get that road closed, to put a cul-de-sac in and really make it nicer for the local community there.
I assume you talked to the ones on that road.
Yes, we have. There were some concerned citizens. We met with those and have approval from the people on the road.
Do you have that in writing
Yeah.
as to who the citizens are and a signed letter that they're in agreement so that we're not just going off of hearsay, but we have it in writing? Or does the township have that in writing?
We do not have it in writing.
I, as a road commissioner, if you're gonna ask me to get behind it, I would like to see that in writing, because what I don't need is after the fact, say, well, we never did that. And I say, well, no, this is what was presented to me in writing that you did, so.
If I can jump in here real
Sure.
quick.
No.
I'm kind of on the portion of it that this is, again, you guys come back to the table, asking to do this project, that this is just like the first step in making sure questions are answered, the proper steps are done, because there's gotta be considered, there's even legal issues that we've gotta deal with. So this is, to me, this is you coming back to the table, asking to do this again, and that's for more discussions. This should be driving more discussions and more meetings to see what we have to do for all this.
Ultimately, doesn't this have to go through court?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What, cul-de-sac, is that gonna be gravel, asphalt?
The current plan was to gravel. Yeah. The road. You said what road is it?
No, what's it gonna be, asphalt or gravel, when you make the cul-de-sac?
Gravel.
Was those people all right with that too?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought the last time we talked about it would be a paved road.
That was at the meeting, that was your proposed.
Okay.
The people on
So
the
that
road.
would, to me, that would be one of the things we would have to have some kind of agreement signed and, from all the, not just you guys, but the residents and the township. And so, like I said, to me, this is the beginning steps again of, do we answer all these questions? Are we sure that that's what the residents want, that the township wants, that,
Bob, I would say, I provided you a list of kind of the procedure to go about this.
and there's even more so for some of that, but.
Okay, so I guess as a road commission, what's our next step? Do we have a next step until some of those other things are done? I don't remember the listing. Is that listing something you should share with all the road commissioners here so
Yes.
that we're all on the same page?
Yes.
Because this is coming in there.